Justyna, thanks very much for joining us. It would be interesting to get your sense, particularly as a lender, I suppose, on the CE markets going forward, particularly there in Poland.
The market obviously suffered a bit following the pandemic. This is, of course, due to the a bit limited mobility of the investors. This is also due to the market, let's say, considerations regarding certain market segments in which direction they would develop. But still, we are seeing lots of optimism in the market. Everyone is still expecting further big tickets to be finalized before the year end. So it looks like the final figures, investment market figures for 2021 will be quite nice. As to the further expectations, forecasts, industrial segment will remain number one. It will be, of course, followed by offices. In this respect, offices, of course, the big names, they focus on prime product, which we like as banks very much. But there is also, I think, still a very interesting market segment, meaning regional offices, which have suffered a bit during the pandemic months. And in fact, what we have observed is that the big names, big investors, they in fact just left this market segment aside. But as a kind of a compensation for this, I believe the domestic CE capital was attracted to those assets. We have seen some transactions already finalized this year, and there are more to come as we hear from the market. The rising star in the real estate investment market, CEE market, is PRS segment, which will account for about, I believe, 1/4 of the investment market volume this year. There is a huge investors' appetite for a product in this market. The availability of new product is quite limited, so naturally there is also a yield compression trend, and this is also a segment which becomes more and more interesting from the lender's perspective as well.
And so at the moment, Justyna, is that largely lending in terms of development finance for the residential side?
Yes, indeed, as there is no existing product in the market other than the products that were developed in the last, let's say, 2-3 maybe years. So of course there is a huge need for development finance. The first players in this segment on the lending side were of course the local banks, with a number of transactions already successfully closed. We are also facing a moment when we can already observe performance track record in the assets already delivered to the market, which were surprisingly survived the pandemic period. Though everyone was asking question, okay, what will happen now? Will the people just looking for savings and so on find for themselves some other living formulas? Let's say it did not happen. The performance, as we hear from the operators, is still fantastic. So this is also a very good basis, I think, for the market development.
Really interesting to get your views on the market there, and also the prospects in terms of lending in CEE. Thanks very much for joining us, Justyna.
Thank you very much, Richard.